At some point, someone told you there was a record of everything you do. Not as a metaphor, literally, a permanent record. Something that follows you around, something that keeps tabs on you even when you've long stopped thinking about it. And when you're a kid, you don't really push back on that. You don't have a way to understand how memory works at that scale. So you fill in the gaps yourself. You imagine a place, a file somewhere, a folder, some system of judgment sitting just outside of your reach. And it's not just information in there, it's interpretation, consequence, a version of you that you don't get to negotiate with anymore. Here's the thing though. Nobody ever actually explains the system. Adults don't describe it, they just throw it at you. Be careful, that'll go on your record. You don't want that following you, so you build the rest of the picture yourself. And in that picture, the record isn't neutral, it's moral. It's not just permanent in storage, it's permanent in meaning. A fixed version of you that can't be revised. That creates a very specific kind of fear. Not fear of getting in trouble, fear of being locked into a version of yourself you've already left behind. Then you grow up, and the world shifts in this quiet, almost unnoticeable way. At first it doesn't feel philosophical, it feels technical. Phones, social media, profiles, cloud storage. And then the idea comes back, but upgraded. Now you're told, the internet never forgets. Everything is stored. Everything is indexed. Everything can be dug up. For a second, it feels like the childhood fear was right all along. Except now it's not one folder in one office. It's everywhere. A massive invisible system that seems to hold everything you've ever done. But there's a mistake buried inside that belief. We confuse storage with memory. We assume that if something exists somewhere, it's being remembered. But those are not the same thing. Memory is active. It needs attention, repetition, context. Something that keeps coming back to what it's holding. Storage doesn't do that. Storage just preserves the possibility of access. And possible access is not the same as presence. So most of what's out there online isn't really remembered. It just hasn't been deleted yet. And there's a difference there, a real one. Because a forgotten thing can still exist. And a thing that exists can still be completely gone in every way that matters. The internet does forget, just not cleanly. It forgets through neglect, through abandonment, broken links, outdated formats, platforms that shut down, accounts nobody logs into anymore, communities that just kind of dissolve without any announcement. What's left behind isn't a preserved past. It's scattered residue. Fragments with no living system around them. So the idea of permanence turns into something more accurate. Not permanence, just persistence without meaning. So why does the myth stick around? Why does the permanent record idea keep surviving? Because it's doing something emotional for us. It gives shape to consequence. It tells you that what you do matters beyond the moment you're in. And we need that. Without it, everything feels too weightless, too easy to undo, too invisible. So we build systems, formal or informal, that simulate permanence. But the simulation isn't the reality. It just helps us act like continuity exists. If digital systems don't preserve us the way we think they do, then what actually does? Something does. You can see it, it's just harder to put a number on. It shows up in behavior, in repetition, in the way things get passed down, the way people learn how to talk, how to react, how to read the world around them. We inherit more than we ever consciously receive, not just information, orientation, ways of being, patterns of thought that feel like ours, but were shaped long before we ever noticed them. This is where the permanent record idea really falls apart, because it assumes that humans get recorded externally, filed somewhere outside of themselves. But humans also get recorded internally, inside of other humans. And that kind of record doesn't behave like data. It behaves like transmission. It mutates, it adapts, it goes invisible over time, until the origin point isn't even recognizable anymore, but the pattern stays. So the question was never really, what will be recorded about me? The deeper question is, what continues through me that I never fully controlled? Because influence doesn't wait for recognition. It doesn't need your name attached to it. It just keeps moving forward. Sometimes through people you know, sometimes through people you never meet, sometimes through systems you didn't even realize you had a hand in building. The permanent record was never real the way we were told it was. It was a simplified model for understanding consequence, a story we needed. But life isn't a filing system. It's a chain of influence that keeps moving forward without clean edges. And most of it isn't stored anywhere. It's carried. So if permanence isn't what we thought it was, that doesn't make life meaningless. It just means meaning was never in the storage. It was in the continuation, in what keeps going without needing to be remembered. Even when the origin is long forgotten, even when the system is gone, even when nobody's watching anymore.